Michigan has been at odds with Ohio since the days of the Northwest Territory. Michigan has been at odds with Notre Dame since October 9th, 1943, when number one Notre Dame faced number two Michigan in the first top ranked matchup of the AP era. Notre Dame won that matchup, unfortunately. So, who should you, the stalwart Michigan fan, root for in the upcoming national championship? We'll tell you coming up next. Welcome to the Point a Minute show on Michigan football at the voice of college football, where we average one outstanding point for every minute of video. My name is Cliff. His name is Mac. Let's get into it. So it seems Michigan fans are in a bit of a bind right now. Who do you root for in the national championship when the national championship is being played by your two biggest rivals? At this point, I feel I should apologize to Michigan State fans, but I'm not going to. Notre Dame is Michigan's oldest rival, and Ohio State is Michigan's fiercest rival. The problem is, you love football. You're going to watch the national championship, and in a complete reversal of everybody gets a trophy, you'd rather nobody got a trophy. But unfortunately, somebody is going to win this game, and we're not going to be happy about it. Before we tell you who to root for, let's talk about the state of this year's national championship. Now, Mac, there is a debate on X right now. If Ohio State wins the national championship, is it more or less impressive than Michigan's 2023 title, given OSU lost twice in the regular season and Michigan went undefeated in 23? However, Ohio State has blown past two top 12 teams, including number one Oregon, and they had an impressive win against Texas. So, which title is more impressive?
So I don't think that it is an apples to apples comparison. Okay. This is more like a Cards Against Humanity type of comparison. This is I laid down a wildly inappropriate card, and you're over there like, I can't believe you would play a card like that. What type of person are you? Why would you even bring something like this up? Whatever's on that card is just wildly inappropriate. How dare you?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how I feel about this debate. It's a really stupid debate, but that's kind of Twitter for you. I think it's a dumb debate, but I think that they're two different. I think that they're two different seasons. I mean, Michigan won every game in the regular season, but they only had to play two postseason games. Ohio State dropped two regular season games, but now they've played what? Texas, Tennessee,
Oregon,
Oregon. Oh, they didn't play in the Big Ten championship, did they? So they've
right.
played three, and now we'll play a fourth postseason game. I mean, does that make up for the two regular season losses? I don't know. I can't really be the judge of that. All I can have is my personal opinion. But I think that Ohio State's just doing what's being asked of them right now. For some reason, they got hot in the postseason. And it's not like they had a bad game against Oregon either. I think, Will Howard makes the point that they didn't get beaten, they beat themselves. Okay. I mean, I think that's kind of a dumb thing to say. I think that you probably just want to keep looking forward and keep getting better. I think that it's kind of narrow-minded. It's kind of narrow-minded of him to take away from the fact that Oregon is also a really good football team. But he said what he said and then backed it up with a 3-4 some odd score blowout in the Rose Bowl against that very same team. So he backed it up, and you got to give him credit for that. But that being said, these are two different seasons. Michigan had a far more impressive regular season than Ohio State had this year, and Ohio State has had an incredibly impressive postseason. Both get their flowers. I'm not mad at it.
All right, well, let me throw another curveball at you then. As part of the debate, is focused on the fact that Ohio State wouldn't even have made the playoffs if we were still in the four-team playoff with their two losses and no conference championship. So, does that influence your opinion at all?
No. But I will say that that's partly why I'm so conflicted about the 12-team format. So, like you said, like we've been saying, Ohio State lost twice in the regular season. Why are we rewarding that with a trip to the national championship? It's not Ohio State's fault. I can already hear the Ohio State stands in the comment section. Oh, this guy's such a Michigan homer. He's so upset that Ohio State's in the national championship and his team's on the couch. No, I'm not. It's kind of great. We beat Alabama. That's all I'm saying. It's not Ohio State's fault. They're just taking advantage of the system as it is. And it's not like Ohio State wasn't always good enough to win the Natty this year. They just laid an egg at Michigan or against Michigan, and then they just lost to Oregon on the road. I mean, maybe if that's a neutral site game, then Ohio State wins that. But the fact is they didn't. But with the 12-team format, It doesn't matter. So no, that doesn't really influence my decision because I think Michigan won the last national championship where the regular season mattered. Ohio State, on the other hand, is close to winning a national championship with one of the most dominant postseason runs we've ever seen. Both are major accomplishments. And I'll say this as a quick aside about the 12-team playoff then. So when we were talking about the Oregon Ohio State or the Rose Bowl, when we were talking about the Rose Bowl, I think it was Garrison said it first, but pretty much everybody on the Pigskin Showdown over on the Big Ten Team Rivalry channel, subscribe, um, made the point that it is difficult to beat a team twice. And that's why Oregon's chances against Ohio State were not very good in the Rose Bowl. So if that's the case, if it is hard to beat a team twice, why should anyone try and beat a top 5 opponent? Period. Like if it's likely not going to hurt your ranking enough to miss the playoffs, then why try? How about you just put in the second stringers and let them have a shot at it? Because then you can just go to the playoffs anyway and you can beat them there, or you can just straight up avoid them. So why are we forcing Oregon, who got the regular season win already, to play Ohio State again if it's so difficult? Shouldn't Oregon be rewarded for the regular season win? And you could say, they were rewarded. They got the 1 seed. Yeah, but they still had to play Ohio State again, which, quote unquote, according to that logic, isn't fair because they already won the regular season contest. And again, none of this is Ohio State's fault. They're a top 12 team and they've proven it. But I think the 12-team playoff has already proven something that we feared would be an effect of it. It diminishes the importance of regular season games. Losing to a 6-5 Michigan team should have been it for Ohio State. That should have been the end. But instead, they can completely lay an egg against one of Michigan's worst teams since the Hoke era and be rewarded with a shot at the national championship. And again, they've done a great job at proving that they belong there. They have. So for the Buckeye fans, that think I'm mad that they're in the playoffs, I'm not. I'm pretty comfortable on my couch. It's been a great time. I've been popping popcorn, add a little extra butter, a little extra salt. It's perfect. I'm just extremely conflicted about the playoffs, but you can't deny that this has been an effect of the playoffs is the diminished regular season games. But that being said, it is clear from this playoff that Ohio State is the best team in the nation and likely was even when they lost to Oregon and Michigan. But that's why the games are played and that's why upsets are called upsets because they aren't supposed to happen and they should have consequences. That's what makes upsets so shocking. Okay. But now an upset can happen, but it doesn't have that much of an effect. Heck, Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. And I get it. They're a much improved team now, but that is a horrific loss and should have almost immediately disqualified them from the CFP. So, but on the other hand, the playoffs has also been a ton of fun. I mean, the home field advantage is sick. SMU and Boise State getting a chance to play is sick. It's been fun. I just think that it diminishes the regular season.
That is a really good point. I hadn't thought of that with the regular season having games that may not matter as much, you could actually have coaches who are in that fringe. Uh, their team is between, let's say, 10 and 14. They're in that range.
Mhm.
They can start making that calculus of, can we lose this game and still make the playoffs? And you might actually get to a point where the team you're going to play is superior. You could just play that game well enough to make a good showing, still lose, still get in the playoffs,
Mhm.
which I suppose isn't too out of the question because I imagine that happens in the pros as well because you haven't ever had to win all of your games to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think that's why eventually they're going to need to do the super conference idea just to make sure that all
Mhm.
of the schedules are as equal as they can possibly be, or the fact that wins are what get you into the postseason, not quality of resume, because that's so subjective. It
Right.
it really is very subjective. I mean, think about Michigan's 6-5 season. They ended the season with 2 top 12 wins.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty good. I mean, you could make the argument that week 15 Michigan or the Michigan team that showed up against Ohio State and the team that beat Alabama, maybe they would have also beaten SMU. Maybe they would have also beaten Boise State. Does that mean they
Yeah.
should go to the playoffs? And obviously, no, that's a ridiculous hypothetical, but it still just kind of introduces that idea. And I think that, eventually conference championships are going to need to go by the wayside and they're going to need to restructure the whole thing. But that's another video.
Yeah. All right, let's answer that big question then. Ohio State, Notre Dame in the national championship, both of our biggest rivals. Who do Michigan fans root for?
You root for a meteor to hit the planet and give us all a quick, merciful death.
Smod.
Smod, the sweet meteor of death. Oh, please, sweet meteor. No, I'm rooting for Notre Dame, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not like I've never. I'm gonna get so much crap for this.
Oh
I've
yeah.
never understood the Michigan rivalry with Notre Dame. All I knew is that we are rivals, and I don't really know why.
I
But
think I can answer that.
okay, go.
Yeah, I think it's more of a camaraderie thing. Michigan and Ohio State are two of the oldest college teams.
Okay.
So when college football came from the East Coast to the Midwest, it was Michigan, Notre Dame, and Chicago that were
Hmm.
the powers of the Midwest, and then Ohio State and uh, the other teams came later. Who else is a power in the Midwest? Uh, but the other Ohio State came a little bit later, so I think that's why. It's because Michigan and Notre Dame sort of blazed that trail in the Midwest. So it's sort of that camaraderie. We're the older big brother teams, that have been there for
Okay.
so long.
Gotcha. Okay. So it was kind of like it was
And
actually
Ohio
kind
State
of what I
fans can
was.
give me all the crap they want for that. I'm pretty sure that's true. So
Sure. I mean, whatever. They're
Mhm.
going to give you crap for it anyway. But actually,
Yeah.
that's pretty close to what I was going to say anyway. Is that Notre Dame to me just kind of feels like that friend you invite over, but you low key really want to be better than them.
Oh yeah.
Like, at something. So you invite them over just for, a little backyard football or something like that, but you're low key like hoping that they screw up big time. And, you both have a crush on the same girl. And so when he slips and falls in the mud, you're like, heck yeah, she's mine. That kind of thing.
All right. Well, let's leave it right there. So Mac is rooting for Notre Dame. Do with that what you will. What do you think about what we think? In fact, why don't you answer that question? What do you think about Mac rooting for Notre Dame? Leave a comment and let us know. You can find us on X. My handle is Dog Team Rivalry. That's DAWG Team Rivalry. And Mac is Big Ten Team Rivalry, B1G Team Rivalry. Stop by and give us a follow and have a little chat with us. If you want more great analysis on college football, check out all the shows right here on Michigan Football at the Voice of College Football, and check out all of the Voice of College Football channels. You can also catch Mac and I on the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show right here on YouTube. Mac, take us out.
This is the Point a Minute Show at the voice of college football.